What is going on, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Talking ATL Hawks podcast. As always, you got your usual crew, myself, Joyner, and Andrew here today, ready to talk some more Hawks basketball to you. And it's July 6th. That's the day we're recording this. We're still slightly on the off season, but NBA Summer League did start yesterday. So that means more Hawks basketball is right around the corner. This is always
We're back. We're officially back.
we're back. We're back. Hawks basketball is back, baby. This is a chance to check out some of the young guys, the guys who are balling out in the G League. Draft picks. We're able to see the new addition of the Atlanta Hawks and just kind of see what they have to offer, kind of see what we like and don't like. And you never know which one of these guys you see in Summer League will become studs. That's something we're definitely going to keep an eye out for and something we'll talk about in the upcoming episodes. But before we begin, also, by the way, I feel like I have to kind of explain myself. I'm not just randomly wearing a bunch of USA stuff. Though I do love support my country. Me and Andrew just got done watching USA play in the Gold Cup against Mexico. We took a hard 2-1 loss, but it was a good fought match. You know, we made it to the final. It is what it is. But we're not here to talk about USA soccer. We're here to talk about Hawks basketball. So, fellas, how y'all doing today?
Well, I was going to say, at the end of the day, it's still called the Gulf of America. So we can at least always hold that over their heads. And I will say it was just the 4th of July. So honestly, the fit kind of does make sense.
It does. It does. Maybe I didn't have to explain myself.
Which, by the way, is happy belated 4th of July, everybody. I hope you guys had a nice, relaxing time. Maybe took some time off work, hung out with family, friends, traveled, watched fireworks, shot fireworks. I don't know what you did, but I hope you enjoyed yourself. But yeah, now it's time to get into some Hawks basketball. Chase, do you want to start with your start bench cut?
I do, as always. And we didn't do it last episode because we had a lot to talk about. Yeah. But as always, we always like to start our episodes with a good old start bench cut. So for this one, I'm going to be talking about. I'm gonna present to y'all three, in my opinion, three of the three greatest Atlanta Hawks dunks of all time. And we're going to do a little start bench cut on them. All right, so number one, I feel like – actually, I have to kind of think about this one for a little bit. Now I'm debating in my head. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and start with the one that I know for a fact is going to be on there. We're going to throw it back not far at all to 2021 when the Atlanta Hawks were facing the Philadelphia 76ers in round 2 of the NBA playoffs. And we all remember the most iconic Game 6 moment when Trae Young lobbed it up to John Collins, and John Collins puts Joel Embiid in a chokehold and proceeds to throw down the nastiest and unholiest dunk I've ever seen in my life. It was so nasty that they put the dunk on T-shirts. And John Collins personally wore that T-shirt to that press conference the next day just to show everybody the most unholy thing he's ever done. So I feel like that's got to be on there.
Yeah, I will say just really quick, just really, really fast. This one.
I already know what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what was better, the dunk itself, which we can see right here, or the fact that John Collins showed up to the press conference the very next day, like you said, Chase, with it posted on a T-shirt. Now, I don't know if this was sold in places. I'm sure you could have custom made it or something, but, I mean, that is just absolutely incredible. I would never forget that dunk right there. The lob from Trae Young, that was absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
That
was insane, especially on Embiid, too.
Yeah, of all players, I mean, that series in and of itself is one of my favorite Hawks moments. I'm sure just one of the best Hawks moments in history for sure, recent history, if that. Yeah. But, yeah, to just had that slap in the middle of it and those MLK jerseys that we just never lost in, and that electric crowd, I mean, that was ridiculous. And the call to go with it was just so electric. It was just everything about that moment was so memorable.
Even though we lost that game, that was one of my favorite Hawks games I think I've ever watched. That game was incredible. But we won the series anyway, so it doesn't
Yeah.
really matter.
We'll get the last laugh.
Exactly, man. And number two, I feel like this wasn't an in-game dunk, but it was one of the most iconic dunks of all time. I'm talking about the 1985 NBA dunk contest, the finale between Michael Jordan and Dominique Wilkins. You got to go back to Dominique's two-handed windmill from the baseline that gave him a score of 50 that officially gave him the edge over Michael Jordan to win the 1985 NBA dunk contest.
Okay.
And then for my last, I'm having a hard time thinking of this. Oh, you know what? And for my last one, okay, I got you. Sorry, I've had a couple in my head. I thought I had my list set, but now I'm just in the middle of it, so I found myself debating myself. But I feel like for my third one, I'm gonna go with Spud Webb's two-handed back scratcher in game. And I understand it was a fast break. There's nobody in front of him, but it's the fact that somebody like Spud Webb's doing a back scratch in the first place is just completely insane. And it's probably Spud Webb's most famous dunk anyway. So I'm gonna throw that one in at number 3.
I might be wrong, but was that not against the 76ers when he did that?
I had no idea who was against, to be honest. I really don't.
Okay, I don't know why I remember it being against the 76ers. It might not have been. Not like that's relevant information, but I mean, I was just
So I'm gonna
throwing that nugget out there.
I'm gonna elect Joyner to give us his list first.
Okay. So so the Spud Webb dunk was in a game, right? That was in a game.
It was in game. Okay. Yeah, Spud Webb was in game.
So I'm gonna cut the Dominique dunk only because it was a dunk contest. It was in a game, so it wasn't contested. I think like for me personally, like the dunks, they're just like wide open, aren't that impressive to me because there's not really any obstacle that they're to like contest or like make you like mess up. So I'm gonna
okay.
Respectfully cut that.
As long as it's respectfully.
And then I'm gonna
It's a thinker.
Yeah, I know.
I think I have my list in my head.
I'm gonna bench the John Collins dunk and I'm gonna start the Spud Webb.
All right, now Jordan, I do have a question. I'm just curious. So you did bring up the point that you cut Dominique Wilkins' slam dunk contest one because it was uncontested. But Spud Webb's dunk, at least the one I'm talking about, maybe I didn't explain this clear. It was on a fast break, and his was also uncontested. Oh. But his was in game though. It was just a fast break. It was just a breakaway fast break. So it was like it was uncontested, but it was in game. If that makes sense. I don't know if that changes your answer any.
It does. It does. I'm flipping my bench I'm gonna flip my bench in my start. I'm gonna start the John Collins dunk and I'm gonna bench the Spud Webb. Yeah. I didn't realize I didn't realize there was a fast break.
I didn't really explain Spud Webb's dunk, so that was kind of my fault.
In all fairness to you, like it's really hard to explain without showing video, and we can't show video because we're gonna get copyrighted. So
exactly. Exactly.
We're just doing what we think is best, I guess.
Going off the dome. All right, Andrew, what you got?
So this one's all about perspective. You kind of have to these can be ranked in a bunch of different ways. It depends on what's your favorite, what you're pointing ahead of the other, what kind of sets it apart. Like Jordan was mentioning how wide open dunks are kind of going to be lesser than a John Collins dunk on Embiid because he has to go over the obstacle in which it is Embiid at a fast break dunk. You don't have any obstacles in front of you. But I'm just going to go based on the iconic significance that it holds in terms of Hawks basketball. And I do want to counter argue what Jordan said about Dominique's dunk contest against Michael Jordan not having any obstacles because he's wrong. because there was an obstacle, and that obstacle was Michael Jordan. Not only one of the best dunkers of all time, but the second, and yes, I'm saying it right here, the second greatest player of all time, because LeBron James is clearly the GOAT. It's not even an argument at this point. But yes.
No, there's a Hawks podcast, not an NBA podcast, so we're not going to get into that debate.
But
maybe we can one day, but not,
we can.
Not but look, tonight,
I'm going to say
I'm sure we can have a whole episode based on that debate.
Yeah. I'm going to say, at the time of Dominique's dunk contest, Michael Jordan was solidifying himself as a generational talent, something nobody's ever seen before. And I know going into that dunk contest, Michael Jordan was probably the favorite, even over the human highlight reel like Dominique Wilkins. And to make it to the final round and go one-on-one with Michael Jordan and have him beat, you have to pull out something that is incredible. Something out of your bag that is so unpredictable that no one's going to see, no one's seen before. And at the time, nobody did see it before. And it was incredible. It wowed the fans. One of the best endings to a dunk contest ever. And I point that at number one. Because to me, I think that is impressive. If you have something in a final round that you can confidently run up to the rim and do improvise to beat out a guy like Michael Jordan is simply incredible. Simply incredible. Number two, I'm going to go John Collins' dunk over Joel Embiid. It was a playoff game. There was a lot on the line. I mean, there's pressure added to that. And not only do you have to complete the dunk over one of the tallest centers in the NBA, you have to catch the lob and then readjust yourself to even have the window to throw down a dunk like that. And Steven, our roommate, just walked in. So if you hear any chatter in the background, that's what's going on there. What's up, Steven? We're recording our Hawks podcast, by the way. So that's what's going on right here. But good to see you, Steven. This is of course Joiner, and then Chase.
Hey, what's up?
Steven!
You Hawks, baby! Austin away! Let's go! Yeah. But yeah, so that's what and then Spud Webb's dunk has got to be number 3 for me because it was great. The back scratcher was absolutely insane, but it was a fast break and there wasn't really much to it. He had a lot more momentum going for that one than what Dominique Wilkins and Dominique had because he was running almost a full length of the court. So that's my take there. Also,
all right,
I didn't even get to acknowledge beforehand, but I got my braces in, y'all.
Oh, nice.
Or my grills. I like to call them my grills. So next few episodes until the 27th of August, I will be nice and shiny.
Oh.
Well, I do have an announcement. I will say that we do have I do share a same list with somebody. And that person that I share a list with is you, Andrew Jefferson. Look, now I did have a hard time debating what was going to be number 1. I was debating between the Dominique Wilkins dunk and the John Collins dunk. Now, I know Dominique Wilkins, in terms of all these dunks, Dominique Wilkins is definitely the most iconic in Hawks history, 100%. But in terms of just I want to include difficulty and like Jordan said, obstacles and the moment and what it presented. And though John Collins, if you look at John Collins and Joel Embiid standing next to each other, the height difference is insane. Joel Embiid is so much taller than John Collins. That alone, the fact that he was able to leap over and be like that, catch the lob and throw it down while having Embiid in a chokehold is just insane to even fathom. And why Dominique Wilkins didn't have that anything contesting his dunk, you also have to remember the dunk that he even did to beat Michael Jordan, a two-handed windmill from the baseline, is still insanely impressive. I mean, look, if someone did that today, it probably wouldn't be a 50, and I only say that because that's something we kind of see a lot in today's game. But in 1985, that was unheard of. That was an easy 50 in 1985. So the fact that Dominique Wilkins did a dunk like that in the dunk contest against Michael Jordan to get a 50, I think it's what sets it over the edge. But then John Collins right behind him. Getting over someone like that, laying down the dunk is phenomenal. Now, Spud Webb, though, it was on a fast break. There's no contest over that. So how tall is Spud Webb? Exactly?
5'9", 5'8"?
Spud Webb is 5'6".
Oh, wow. Okay.
I am almost 6 inches taller than Spud Webb, and he did a two-handed back scratcher cleanly. Like he didn't just scratch the rim; it was a clean dunk. Spud Webb is a guy that was in the dunk contest. Just fathom that someone who was 5'6" participated in the dunk contest and actually competed.
He didn't just participate; he won a dunk contest, right?
Yeah, I think he did.
Did he?
I'm fairly certain he did.
I know he was in the dunk contest. I didn't think he won it. Let's see.
I'm fairly certain he did.
Oh, he did in 1986. Yeah, right after Dominique. Two Hawks won it back to back. You are absolutely right.
Which, yeah, so that just says it all right there. He was a 5'6" guy who won the dunk contest. I mean, enough said.
He did a 360 helicopter slam. Imagine a 5'6" guy doing a 360 two-handed dunk. Anyways, that's just crazy to me. But anyways, so no diss to you, Spud Webb. Your dunk was incredible, but I do have to cut you, unfortunately. But that concludes our segment of Start Pitch Cut. So now it is time to get into some Atlanta Hawks basketball. And one of the first things I want to bring up, I had to kind of introduce today is the trades are finally finalized. The Houston Rockets, officially getting Clint Capella and Kevin Durant, that's all the way. But with that being processed, there was an NBA record set last night. The largest deal in NBA history, the first ever 7-team trade. And Jordan, I know you kind of sent something about that in the group chat. So do you have all the details on that trade?
I believe I do.
All right, let's hear them. Give us the deets.
So, yeah. Let me get Shams has it, so I gotta pull up Shams again.
While you're pulling that up, let's just fathom that a 7-team deal. 7 different teams were involved in this one trade.
I got it. So, in order, Phoenix gets Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, Kamal Mullenweg, the draft pick, Rasheed Fleming, Kobe Brea, Daquan Plowden, the guy that we had, and then a second rounder. I'm not sure who the second came from, but Houston got Kevin Durant and Clint Capella, obviously.
Yep.
Brooklyn gets 2 second rounders. Golden State gets Alex Tui and Jemai Mashak.
Alex Tui is a very underrated move.
We get a second swap, David Roddy and Cash. The Lakers get Adele Theo, the guy who they drafted in the second round.
Yep.
And Minnesota gets Rocco Zikarsky, 2 seconds, and Cash.
Cash was moved around. That Cash guy was moved around 2 different times in that 17 deal. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
That Cash guy. I will say, so 17 trade is absolutely ridiculous. Now, obviously, based on what Jordan just listed, I mean, you can tell that the Hawks played a very minor role in this historic deal, but this was mainly just centered around Kevin Durant and some other pieces that need to be shifted around, like Clint Capella and all these. It was really just like a flower that blossomed. It started with Kevin Durant needing to go to Houston, and then Hawks wanted to give the Rockets Clint Capella in return for Plowden, and then that we got from the Phoenix Suns that was acquired because of the two-way forward spot that was traded also with Houston. So it was just like Houston was branching out amongst all different teams. So it really, what I see it as is that Houston was like the city of Atlanta. Everything has to go through the city of Atlanta to get to somewhere. And if you're in the southeast region anyways. And that's basically what it was. It's just Houston was the city of Atlanta, and every other player just had to pass through it to get to where they need to be. That's kind of what it was for, I guess, a simpler term. Now, obviously, this being the other end of the deal for the Hawks, like Chase mentioned, Clint Capella no longer in a Hawks jersey. This is what our general manager, Anzi Sailor had to say about it, which, of course, we already know the early moves that he has made in his first 2 months in office, which is why I want to bring up his quote, because I always love what he has to say. So this is what he had to say about Clint Capella. We're grateful for everything Clint contributed to the Hawks over the last 5+ years, both on and off the court. In addition to being a great teammate and impactful defender, he is a world-class human being who always conducted himself with class and joy. And that's what he said. He said, we wish Clint all the best in the next chapter of his career. Now, I do want to say, before I throw to you, Chase, I'm sure you have some thoughts on this. I've mentioned this before, but obviously you guys know that I do like – I kind of a little harsh on Clint Capella, especially over last season. And that mainly just has to do with ever since the 2023 season, his rebounding has declined in terms of his rebounds per game, because he used to always be at the top of the league when it came to not only rebounds per game, but total rebounds in general. And we saw a lack of production there. Now, you could argue it's because Onyeka Okongwu got a bigger role. His minutes kind of declined. There's other guys like Mohamed Gay that might share some court time with him from time to time. And yes, that's all needs to be in consideration. But it's not like his minutes were dropping significant enough where it was on par with what he was doing, of how far his rebounds were declining. They weren't lining up to where it could be like a scapegoat reason. But I do want to say that he played a total of 313 games, and he averaged 11, 1 assist, 1 block, and that was in the span of 26 minutes. Now, in terms of rebounding, it was also 11. So he was like a 12 points per game, 11 rebounds per game kind of guy through that span, which to stay averaging a double-double with points and rebounds through 300-plus games is wildly impressive, not to mention he was shooting 60% from the field. And he came up big for us. I'm not going to sit here and say that he didn't have big moments. Like, we know what he did in that Game 4 against the Milwaukee Bucks when Trae got hurt, and he had to take over the interior paint by himself. Like, that showing alone was incredible. And he did have, I think, let's see, I had the numbers pulled up here. I want to see how many double-doubles he had in Atlanta. It says he did reach 8th all-time in Hawks history with 460 blocks, 10th all-time in defensive rebounds, and 13th all-time in double-doubles with 167 total double-doubles. And he had almost 4,000 total rebounds in his tenure with Atlanta. So I do want to say, amongst all my hate comments, we do appreciate you, Clint Capella. You weren't as bad as I made you sound. You were actually phenomenal. It was just last year that kind of made me direct my anger towards you. But I do appreciate you for everything you did, because you did come up big. And I am excited that you get to reunite yourself where your career started. And with a guy like Kevin Durant, amongst all the young players that they have, you're going to have a blast. And
him and Segun, and then pair with Steven Adams as well. Like I don't know what Houston's going to do in terms of that and how they plan to use that exactly. But however they decide to use that, this is a good problem for Houston to have. And like you said, Andrew, I'm very happy that if he did leave, and in my mind, I always said if he was going to go anywhere, let it be Houston. That's going to be a great reunion for him. He can do a lot of good there. He will do a lot of good there. So, CC, we do appreciate you. And because we know you watch the podcast, of course, and we loved all you contributed to the Atlanta Hawks organization. Not only what you did on the court, but off the court too. Always getting involved in the community. You'll love to see it. That's the type of athlete we love to have representing Atlanta. So we're gonna miss you, of course. It's just one of those instances. It was kind of one of those things that you kind of knew Clint Capella leaving Atlanta was going to happen. It was rumored 2 years ago. It was especially rumored last year. This offseason, we kind of knew it was going to kind of take off and happen in place. And especially when Kristaps Porzingis was signed, that was kind of like the cutting edge there. That's kind of was almost like pretty much confirmed that, yeah, Clint Capella, you're not an Atlanta Hawk anymore. But, so it gives Houston in a good situation, and it gives Say a lot to work with. Because, like you said, obviously – I don't know if we're going to go in the direction of Kristaps is going to be center, Okongwu is going to come off the bench, or we're going to put Okongwu at the starting center. I don't know how we're going to decide to use that, but either way, we now have to decide what we want to do behind a Kongru or in front of a Kongru? Do we want to? What are we going to do to Muhammad Gay? Are we going to let him develop in the G League a little more, or is he going to get increased minutes of what he did last year? Um, that's really about the that's really about the only option we have in terms of big men. If we didn't want to use Kristaps as a center, of course,
Which
I mean there's still plenty of offseason left. There's not any really good big men out there to grab, so I couldn't see Salah going out and executing, including someone else. So if I'm Salah, and based on what we saw from Muhammad Gay last season, I wouldn't want to restrict him to the G League. I would want to keep Muhammad Gay on the actual roster. Of course, he's if I'm not mistaken, he is on that summer league roster. So I think we're gonna.
yes,
Yeah, I thought so. So we're going to see more of Muhammad Gay this summer league. Kind of, I imagine he's going to start in the summer league, get most minutes and a lot of players on that roster. So I think we're going to see a lot from him. I think it's going to show a lot of what we're going to get from Muhammad Gay this season, how he's progressed already this off season. And I would already have it in my mind if I'm Salah, but I'm not. But I would imagine that he is going to have Muhammad Gay on this roster coming up this season, and he is going to
surely.
play a bigger role than what he did last year. And there is a lot to like about Muhammad Gay. To me, he was a miniature Clint Capella in the terms of what Clint Capella was before he got soft in terms of defense. I think
That's
he was
another
he
thing.
was very
That's another thing
aggressive.
that we
Well, Muhammad Gay was very aggressive when it came to blocks. He didn't shy away from going up with somebody. That's what you love to see from a young guy. That's something that's only going to get better. He's pretty slow though, so I think in terms of defensive end, I would like to see his reaction get a little better, maybe pacing a little better too. But that's something that's also going to come with time. So I think if we
I
can
do want to
develop him.
stop you really quick before you move on. Just really quick before you move on from Clint Capella. Another thing that I forgot to mention, and aside from another reason why I was hating towards him, because he did get his interior defense did grow very soft. You had guys like freaking Quentin Grimes from the 76ers driving in on him and getting way too easy uncontested buckets. But one quick thing that I forgot to note, which is a really big milestone that Clint Capella had while he was in Atlanta, was dating back to that game one of the Eastern Conference Finals in Milwaukee of that 2021 playoff. He had that 12.19 rebound, a double-double, which he became the first Hawks player since Hall of Famer Dikembe Mutombo to grab at least 19 boards during a playoff game. So shout out to Capella there. So I just wanted to say that real quick because I did forget about that, and that was a very impressive feat. But yeah, go back on what you were saying about Muhammad Gay.
I was in the middle of just hyping up Muhammad Gay. I
Yeah.
feel like that comment could have definitely waited, but you go ahead, Andrew.
Well,
You go.
you brought Clint Capella back up, and I was like, well, the opportunity is not going to show itself again, so I better stop and do it now before
No, it's
you
okay. It's
continue.
okay. It's okay. Screw Muhammad Gay. Screw Muhammad Gay. He didn't need
Whoa,
his he didn't need his time of praising. I feel like
Muhammad Gay
that's
is
what.
about. It's about to be gay time all summer. Okay, you can calm down.
Oh no, I just feel like if I'm Muhammad Gay, that's the message you just gave him. But it's okay. I respect you, Gay, and I can't wait to see you be gay. I just butchered that. I was gonna say such a funny line. I just absolutely butchered it. So now I'm not even gonna try
We
anymore.
can't wait to see you be gay on the court.
No, that's not what I was gonna say. I can't walk. Never mind. Never mind. Jordan, you better please start talking before I embarrass myself.
I mean, like, yeah, like, first of all, I was confused about the Houston, about him going back to Houston because, like, I thought that they already had like enough like center depth over
They
there, but
do.
like, but I mean, like, I guess it does make sense. He's going back to a place that he knows very, very well. I know I haven't been a player there since he got drafted, but like, I am like happy for him that he's getting into a role that he's going to be comfortable with backing up Sengun. And yeah, I'm just happy for him, and I thank him for the 5 years that he spent here. But yeah,
Clint Capella's a guy that never has to buy a box of apple juice in Houston ever again. Like that's his place.
right.
But
Um,
And before we move on, any other comments concerning this huge 7-team deal?
I don't have any comments.
Welcome back, David Roddy, to Atlanta.
Oh yeah, he is
welcome
back
to
in the
Atlanta, David Roddy.
Now that's a guy that never has to buy a box of apple juice in Atlanta. This is his home right here. Talk about an icon,
dude. Dude, David Roddy. It's really kind of hard to say like the significance of this trade in terms of, for us, Atlanta, because I mean, you take a look at Ronnie, and anyone's gonna be like, well, how in the world does he fit with like the new look of the Atlanta Hawks? It's going to be just like it's going to be as simple as this. He's going to fill in one of Atlanta's, two-way rosters. He's going to be shared between Atlanta and College Park. I mean, he's an undrafted rookie. So don't take a look at this as like you see a historic trade and you're like, oh my gosh, the Hawks just made an historic trade. It's like, no, we were a part of a historic trade. Now, I'm not hating on you. Like, look, and the thing that does suck about it, I totally forgot to mention this when we brought up Roddy, but because we had to make an available two-way spot available, we got rid of Daquan Plowden, which I'm not going to lie. Daquan Plowden was a guy that I was like, well, hold on now. He might be a little something special because
we should have kept him.
He had that 19-point game in Chicago where he shot 7 for 8 from the three-point line. I mean, not from the three-point, from the field. And I'm like, dude, like he was a consistent sharpshooter, and he didn't get much of an opportunity last year. And I was like, well, maybe down the road, assuming like next season, we might see a little bit more of him. But nope, no longer there because we want to be part of a 7-team trade. So, yeah, but that's about all I had to say. I don't know if y'all want to get into the Summer League roster, but I wanted to propose this before we get into the Summer League roster. I have it pulled up right here. I saw this on a website. I'm pulling it right here where the Atlanta – it was a proposal, a 3-team trade proposal that involves the Hawks, the Warriors, and the Miami Heat. And I'm trying to get it pulled up because I thought it was very interesting. Let's see.
I guess while you're pulling that up, another shout out. We want to give our love and appreciation to Larry Nance Jr., who is officially not going to be part of the team anymore. We do know that Larry Nance suffered a lot of injuries last year. So he was very on and off the court. Sadly, he was mostly off more than he was on. But when he was on, man, coming off the bench, he was an incredible specimen. He was a great shooter, very consistent shooter too. Always the type of guy you know exactly what you're going to get from him when he steps on the court. But even off the court, he was just a fantastic locker room presence. He loved being on the team. Through the highs and lows, he always kept positive energy, positive vibes, and he had incredible leadership. He's still fairly young himself, not the oldest guy, but he's been in the league a couple of years. He had a lot to learn. He has a lot of wisdom behind him in terms of the game, and he always shared that knowledge and notes around him. He had a great time sitting next to Bob Rathbun and Dominique Wilkins in the boot or in on the sidelines with them, calling the game a couple of times. He was always fun to listen to. So he was just a great guy to have in the lane, and a guy I really wish we could have re-signed, but he's going to be moving on elsewhere. So Larry Nance Jr., we definitely want to shout out.
He's going back to Cleveland where he started his career. So
everybody's doing that.
Going back to their original places.
It's just a trend, I guess.
Well said. I am really sad about that Larry Nance news because right before he got injured, he was in a little 3-week spurt where he was averaging close to 20 points off the bench, getting very efficient from inside the paint, and his ability to grab offensive rebounds because we know the Hawks were always lacking offensive rebounds, and he showcased one of the only ability to get himself into a two-body situation where he was able to I don't even know how to say this term, but out physical. I know that's not the right way, but catch my drift here. Out physical the guys that are in. Like he would go up in a two-body situation, just use his athleticism and because he always had a high vertical. That's why he was a draft contest contestant at one point. But he used that high vertical of his to really be effective on the paint, and that was translated well with how he was able to space the floor, find guys on fast break, and he was just a quick thinker on the court and a good locker room presence. Really good guy. But here's a trade that I was going to get into. This involves the Hawks, Warriors, and Heat, like I said. So on the opposing end, the Warriors would receive Andrew Wiggins again, Billy Larson, Muhammad Gay, which we were just talking about, which is why I want to bring it up, and 2031 first-round pick, which is a guaranteed top 8 pick. The Heat will receive Jonathan Kuminga, Tyrese Jackson Davis. That's just it. Those two players right there. And the Hawks would receive Moses Moody, a 2031 second-round pick, and a 2032 second-round pick. So a little more draft capital and in future years, and Moses Moody. Now, I know that seems a little confusing because why would the Hawks do the deal? Because we just got Alexander Walker for that 4-year deal, and which is a good pairing with Dyson Daniels. Now, this is the one beneficial side that I can see to this trade. Because although Dyson Daniels played in nearly all 82 games last season, he did miss 20-plus games in the previous 2 seasons. And we, as Hawks fans, all know that we cannot afford any more pivotal pieces to go down due to injuries, especially a guy like Dyson Daniels. Now Moses Moody, with the Golden State Warriors, he's like a 37 career three-point shooter, and he's only been in the league for about 4 seasons. But away from the three-point line, he has shot an excellent 72% at the rim, which is in the 82 percentile among all wings. And he's a 6'6" guy that has like a 7-foot wingspan, and he's good on the defensive end when it comes to forcing deflections. He can add a strong perimeter defense to Dyson Daniels' game, along with other guys that we acquired like Nickeil Alexander-Walker. So that's my taste on it. I don't want to know your guys' thoughts because I know we were just sitting here praising Muhammad Gay, but he would be shipped away if that trade did go down.
Well, I mean, so like I would hate to see that we're losing, but I wouldn't mind Moses Moody.
Exactly. I don't like it. I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all.
I wouldn't mind him. He did go to Arkansas. I wouldn't mind it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's.
I get Jersey for real. So that's me being a little biased.
Understandable.
Hey, I will also say that, like you mentioned, it'd be almost like just having another Dyson Daniels on the team. Now, obviously, not to Dyson Daniels' extent, but just in terms of a guard that presents great defense. He's a fantastic perimeter defender. He was known as playing that or having that 3-and-D type set skill in Golden State, where he was a great perimeter shooter and a great perimeter defender, defending off the wing, helping Warriors transition from defense back into offense, just always being that reliable option. And that's something the Hawks could always use, especially with a guy playing behind Dyson Daniels. We had Dyson Daniels to his type of defensive caliber, but when he's on the bench, we have another guy right behind him that's still a really consistent shooter, but also a really solid defender. So that's very attractive, if you ask me. But then I also have to propose a question. We just kind of debated what are the Hawks going to do in terms of big men. Because we have a Nneka Okongwu, if we're going to start him at center, who's going to play behind him? Or if we do start Kristaps at center, then Okongwu plays behind him. But if we don't do that, then Muhammad Gay would be an asset that we really, really need. And that's where I kind of come to question and say, would this be a little bit too risky of a move to give up a guy like Muhammad Gay that we could really need next year? And he's also a guy that, if developed right, could turn into a really, really solid big man. So that's something you have to consider as well. Not saying I'm against the trade. It just, there's things to consider before we jump the gun on this. But Moses Moody is definitely a very attractive player to have off the bench. So I'm a little on the fence about it. I see good from both sides of the trade.
Again, it's just a trade proposal, so it's not like This is like something that we got to be like clenching our pillows on, like we could wake up the next morning and this transaction happens. It's literally just a proposal.
Yeah.
No front offices are in legitimate discussions about this. So, because there are, like you said, just concerns in terms of what the Hawks would do going forward with big men depth, because we would be lacking, because Moses Mooney's only 6'6". That's not what we would categorized as big men, because there's some forwards out there that's staying at least 6'5". You know what I mean? We're talking about centers, like guys that can guard the paint and be strong rim protectors with additional size. And he has the rim protecting abilities, just not that additional size. But do y'all guys want to get into some summer league rosters, baby?
Yeah, I think it'd be a good idea to kind of review the summer league roster and kind of maybe talk about things we want to see, which guys to watch out for. So I guess we'll go ahead and get that started. So look at the summer league roster just really quick.
I think Jordan was about to say something.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry, Joe.
Well, actually, yeah. Before we got into the summer league, we completely forgot to talk about Luke Kennard.
Did we not talk about the last episode?
Oh, we did it.
No, we didn't.
Because Luke Kennard wasn't on the team, but we did the last episode.
I thought. Did we talk about Alexander Walker?
We I used to think, because he was rumored to be coming to Atlanta. I was doing him at their choice, so we thought they were going to. But Luke Kennard, no, I don't think anyone expected us to sign Luke Kennard.
Okay, but we did talk about Alexander Walker, though,
yes. Right? We did throw a little bit, but not. But yeah, we talked about. Yeah, we did. Yes, we did talk about Nob, but we didn't talk about Luke Kennard.
Oh, well, go ahead, Jordan. Take the floor on this, then. Yeah, we got to do some good business.
Like I just said, like I don't think anyone of us expected us to get Luke Kennard, and he is a shooter, which is what we can always use. So I think I think he's a perfect guy to replace guys like Gorgeous Niang, Karis LeVert.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. But what are your thoughts on it?
Look, like you said, Luke Kennard is a lights-out shooter. And even before we got Luke Kennard, we were all with Alexander Walker joined the team. We were already talking about how nasty and disgusting this Atlanta Hawks bench is going to be next year. And now just throw Luke Kennard in the mix, and you're going to have, someone coming behind. The thing about this, picture this. This is kind of how I would imagine the Atlanta Hawks are going to do their roster next year. You'd have Trae Young, Dyson Daniels. I'm going to say, I'm going to entertain the fact we'll do Jalen Johnson, Zachary Ricochet, and then Kristaps, or Nneka Okongwu, Kristaps Porzingis. Let's just say Kristaps, because
he's definitely going to be a starter.
Well, I'm also considering the fact that Kristaps could be power forward, Nneka center, and the Zachary Richards off the bench. There's many possibilities, but just for this scenario, let's just say Zachary power forward, Kristaps center. Then off the bench, we would have Alexander Walker, Luke Kennard, Nneka Okongwu, Muhammad Gay. Who else am I missing that's going to be out there? Kobe Buffkin's going to be back. He's going to be fresh and healthy.
I'm really hoping. We talked about him last episode, and now I'm forgetting his name again.
Oh, Asa Newell. I didn't even say Asa Newell yet. Sorry.
The guy from College Park that we kept calling up that would start. Yeah, Keaton Wallace. Yeah, he started some games in replacement for Trae Young when he got hurt, and he's got I've got a soft spot for him because I really like he's got almost as good as playmaking abilities as Trae Young does, and I think he'd be a great guy to add to that bench as well.
I'm glad you said that because Keaton Wallace is not even on the 2025 Summer League roster, which means he's past the point of being in the Summer League, and that's a good sign in terms of Keaton Wallace being on the team next year. That just means that we've seen all we want to see from Keaton Wallace, and we think he can play a significant role on the Hawks next year. So, yeah, Keaton Wallace is definitely – so my point was in all this is saying that Luke Kennard just adds a massive impact coming off the bench of the Hawks, and now you're looking at a team – that's not only capable of winning 50 games this year. I think if you ask me, if everyone can stay healthy, but the Atlanta Hawks are in contention to having the best bench in all the NBA. And I say that with full confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think this is and another thing, just to pay him some more flowers. Nikhil Alexander-Walker, because now he is officially an Atlanta Hawk because we officially reached the new season point of the NBA. Obviously, capped off by the Summer League being in play now as of yesterday. And we expect a guy like Alexander Walker to be an immediate contributor to the Hawks team, who should be a high competitive component in the Eastern Conference that's going to be very downplayed now because Jason Tatum, Damian Lillard, now Tyrese Halliburton will be all out. So the top five of the East Conference is literally a wide open door, and all the Hawks have to do is stay healthy and walk right through it. And I take a look at a guy like Alexander Walker. He's a guy that he perfectly blends like defensive intensity, because we saw that in the Western Conference Finals against OKC, and he has such a competitive spirit. And I think that's another thing that I saw in that conference finals. And I think a guy of his intensity is what the locker room needs, especially when a rookie like Asa Newell is going to be playing alongside him. And I think he's just a great fit for the locker room in general. And if you take a look at what he did for Minnesota last season, he averaged about 10 points, and he had a career high in every other category, like rebounds, assists, and he had a career best 25 minutes per game. And he's pretty efficient from the field. I mean, he shot 44%. But I think what really catches our eye or my eye at least, is what he did in that conference finals. Where he had playoff highs where he had 23 points in one game with 6 assists, and then he had like 29 minutes off the bench, which is something which shows me that if we need him to be a starter to give some guys some rest, he can go the full length. He can go the full distance. And because having 23 points in 29 minutes in a high-intensity game like the NBA playoffs and the conference finals gives me all the confidence in the guy that I need, that he's going to have what it takes to take this team to the next step, which is why I think he's going to be an immediate contributor to this team. So I am very excited about that move.
Not to mention, he's a great contact shooter. He's a hard guy to contest.
Absolutely.
But if y'all are ready, I think I'm going to go ahead. I'll go ahead, just like list off the NBA Summer League roster, and then Jordan, will start with you. You can kind of talk about the guys that you're most interested in on this roster and kind of what you want to see for them. So this is in no particular order, but we have Kobe Buffkin, Lamont Butler. He was an undrafted signee out of Kentucky. Nikola Jurčić, he's the second rounder we got last year that we saw just only in College Park. Adam Flagler, Javon Johnson, Kobe Johnson, who, by the way, was on that UCLA Cinderella-ish run last year. So that's a very interesting signing. Nelly Joseph, Jack McVeich, Dwight Murray Jr., Eli Ndiaye, Asa Newell, of course, Devion Smith, Jake Stevens, Jacob Toppin, and then Jack White. And anyone on that roster kind of catch your eye, Joyner?
I mean, not really. I mean, not really. I mean, because I will say that it's nice that we actually put we actually did decide to put Jalen's brother on the Summer roster so he can prove himself that he can play, and maybe we can sign him to our to a 2-way deal, or maybe if he goes off enough, maybe he will make the final 12-man roster.
Yeah,
I mean, we'll see.
And more than just being Jalen Johnson's brother, like Kobe Johnson was actually a really solid player on UCLA. Of course, UCLA, they made this Sweet 16 this previous March Madness, lost to Tennessee, but was Sweet 16 was a lot further than a lot of people thought they were going to go. And, they dominated, I guess, Big Ten play. They're more of a dark horse. But a lot of that had to do with Kobe Johnson. And he was a terrific player for UCLA. He was a great defender as well. He's another really good wing defender. I mean, he's 6'6", has a really good wingspan. So he was also kind of a 3-and-D type skill set for UCLA. So I think he does have a lot to offer. And, of course, being the brother to Jalen Johnson. I'm sure he has a lot to learn from him. He's also very athletic. That's athleticism, just something that comes with that family. So I do think more than just maybe like, oh, let's kind of see what happens. I think we'll look at him as a guy that like, okay, like he does have a really interesting skill set, and maybe he does have a lot on the table that can help this Hawks roster out. So I think he's going to be a guy that our coaching staff is definitely going to have their eye on. But Andrew, what kind of catches your eye about this Hawks Summer League roster?
I'm actually going to lean on the third-year guard, Kobe Buffkin. I'm actually very excited that he's going to get a chance to be in a slot of the Summer League roster. And I think a lot of it does have to do with him being on rehab from the season-ending injury. You got to get the guy some push before you can shove him into the preseason, because those are still two different games. And I think a guy that's a 3-year vet in Kobe Buffkin could be a good little guy to speak in some ears in that locker room during Summer League to all the younger guys, including the first-round pick, Asa Newell, and then last year's second-round pick, like you said, Chase Nicola, Drew Stick, because look, there's a lot of notable mentions that we are including from last year's roster into this year's roster. And, of course, we saw right out the gate how Zachary improved from the Summer League. Muhammad Gay improved drastically from the Summer League. So it has a lot of benefits to these guys. And I do want to mention that, in case those who are curious, something that you didn't mention, Chase, is that the Hawks assistant coach, Brian Bailey, is going to be the one that serves as the Atlanta Hawks Summer League head coach. Which, by the way, this is the third time that Bailey is going to be the head coach of the Summer League team. He was Utah's head coach for the Summer League team in 21 and 22, and he's bounced around. He's been the assistant coach for College Park. He's been the Hawks assistant coach for previous years before reuniting with us again. And he's been in other teams like Denver. Like he's been pretty much a journeyman in the NBA. So he's got a lot of experience, which could also bleed onto the shoulders of the Summer League guys. Now, July 11th is going to mark the first game of the Hawks Summer League schedule. It's going to be against the Miami Heat at 4:30. And, of course, I think if you're speaking for the majority, I think we're all just intrigued to see how Asa Newell is going to be able to do in the Summer League. A guy that averaged 15 points and 7 rebounds in his college career at the University of Georgia while shooting close to 55%. And he was SEC Freshman of the Week 4 different times throughout the season. So, yeah, I think if you're talking about the majority, it's going to be leaning on Asa Newell, which, of course, that's understandable. But I'm just excited to see Kobe Buffkin get some more reps and see how that rehab assignment is going to go for him.
Yeah, Asa Newell, 6'11", by the way. So if you want to talk about a big man-ish guy that could help the Hawks in terms of depth there, that's another reason why we have our eyes on Asa Newell, because we want to see what he can offer us there in terms of being that big man-ish player. But just another little side note about Brian Bailey, if you didn't catch that, and the biggest reason why he is serving as a Hawks Summer League coach for the third time is because back when Quinn Snyder was in Utah, who was his Summer League coach? Brian Bailey. So Quinn Snyder and Brian Bailey already had that relationship, which is why he continues to choose Brian Bailey. Well, I guess it's not his choice. I guess it's more on the GM. That's why they have Brian Bailey as a Summer League head coach. Just kind of that relationship there is interesting to note. But
they really piece that together. So, and that means that by our next episode, we'll get to talk about our Summer League matchup against the Heat. I think, let me go back on the schedule. I just had the schedule pulled up. We play on the 11th and the 13th. And if I look at my calendar, which I also just had pulled up, that's on a Friday, and then we'll be playing on the Sunday, which that game's at 3:30. So both games will be wrapped up by the time we record again. So we're gonna have a lot to talk about next week.
Yeah, so, we'll be able to go back to recapping some games. But just really quick, I guess before we conclude this episode, in terms of like something, just in general, I kind of want to see the Hawks keep an eye on is just how all the big men perform. The most notable ones being Nelly Joseph, who was on 2025 undrafted player out of New Mexico. So he was on New Mexico's team that, of course, made a March Madness run themselves. And then Jake Stevens, a 6'11 center that was undrafted back in 2023 out of Chattanooga. So he's kind of a guy that's trying to fight his way into an NBA roster. So we'll kind of see how those guys would perform. We also have Ellie and Dye, who was an undrafted guy out of Real Madrid. And then I think that's kind of it in terms of centers that we have. We have a couple of tall forwards on there as well. So just in general, in terms of just that general area, that's something I kind of want to see the Hawks keep an eye on. But before we conclude, do we have any other final thoughts or ideas to kind of mention?
Yeah, so so I've been on my phone throughout this entire thing, looking for that Trae Young extension post, but we haven't got anything. But Trae Young did post something on a story on
the timer, right?
Story. You saw the Michael Jordan thing?
Oh, I didn't. I didn't.
Did you see? Did you see that Trae Young posted something on his Instagram story? It was like about Michael Jordan meme.
I didn't see that.
I'm about to look at it right now. I must have. What kind of timer were you talking about?
Trae Young at around 7 o'clock tonight on his X account, he just posted a timer emoji.
Yeah, but right. Even 39 minutes ago on his Instagram story, he posted that Michael Jordan meme, which I don't know what the heck that means.
What does
is there
that
a
mean?
Caption? Is there a caption?
No, it's literally just a picture.
Nothing.
Literally just a picture. That's very interesting.
And it's been 39. It's been like 40, almost 40 minutes. Like I don't know, like how Shams hasn't like tweeted that we've assigned him or what, but I don't know what's going on with Trae Young.
He's probably just stop fiddling my pubes and just tell us straight up what he has in mind.
Well, I can speak from experience. That's a hard thing to do, Chase.
I mean, it's weird too because like it was like the post before that he's like welcoming Nickeil Alexander-Walker to to Atlanta. So like, I don't think he would do that if he was leaving.
No, and that was like 4 days ago when he posted that, and he's been working really hard with these young guys for the past few days in his own little personal camp. And if Trae Young was, and especially with the roster we just built over the last few weeks of this offseason, it would make no sense for us to be like, you know what, Trae, we're going to let you walk right now. We are going to get this last year out of this contract out of him. Now seeing how wide open the Eastern Conference is, this would be the worst possible time to make something like that happen. So I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means on the story, but I can only assume it's good and nothing negative.
And you can say this is –
It has to be.
It has to be. Because you got to say this is his roster. He went out and recruited Alexander Walker and Luke Kennard. He met with Salah, worked with him, and told him, this is the guys I want. And Salah went out and got them. These are the guys you asked for. You're going to want to work with them, you know? We signed Alexander Walker to a 4-year deal. He's going to be an Atlanta Hawk for the next 4 seasons, up until 2029. So these are the guys you want to work with. Let's go out and make it happen. Let's build a relationship with them. Let's work with them for years to come. So Trae Young, the ball's in your court, man.
Yeah.
Just saying. Ball's in your court.
I mean, I don't know what's I mean, again, I don't know what's going on with Trae Young. Like, I was hoping he would sign his contract tonight, but I think he's gonna drag it out at least a couple more hours. I don't know though.
Yeah, maybe just
that's my 2 cents about it. It's just weird and concerning, but yeah.
Maybe it's just because he's just trying to like work out the right deal. Like that could be what it is. Maybe he's just kind of like exploring what kind of like what's on the table, you know? Because this is a guy like Trae Young. Like this isn't just something you can throw a deal together and say, you know, here you go. Like this is something you have to sit down and talk about because like he's valued across the league. So like at the Hawks,
because like the thing that he the extension that the extension that he's eligible for is like a 4-year, $229 million deal. Like, why not sign that?
So if we're obviously we're gonna go big or go home on Trae Young. So now it's just talking about, you know, like, hey Trae Young, this is your future in Atlanta. This is how much you're gonna get paid, you know. So it's in your court, Trae Young. That's all I gotta say. Ball's in your court. You know what we want. You know what we want. You already know what we want, man.
Yeah.
So hopefully by next episode we will also be celebrating a Trae Young extension. But any other closing remarks?
I'm good. I'm
I
good.
don't believe so.
All right, fellas. By the time we record again, we will be celebrating the official return of Hawks basketball. But with me, Andrew, and Joyner, we will see you all next time. Trey, we love you. Please resign.
Please resign. Please.
Andrew, we'll wait for you to end the episode.